Hello, this is my week 11 coding assignment for Tic-Tac-Toe. I'm going to start off with my code and go through that, and then I will show the functionality of the game itself. So I used a combination in my code editor of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So I'll start off with the HTML file. I have my boilerplate here to start, and then I have linked my style CSS sheet to my HTML file, and I've also linked my JavaScript file here at the bottom, so everything is connected. I've been using classes and IDs to identify those classes. So this is the game board itself that I came up with code for. I used the cell indexes and designations to identify each individual space within the game board. And then down here, I have a heading of status as well as a restart button to actually reset the board once a game has been completed. So that is my HTML file. Next, I'll go over to my CSS file. And this is pretty basic. It just has design for the cells itself. So we've got different parameters here, including width, height, borders, a box shadow setting as well, just a slight one, and then font size and effects for the cursor. And then for the game board ID, I used just this text style. It's called permanent marker and a cursive just to make it something that can really kind of stick out and is very easy to read. And then for the cell container itself, I used the display of grid and I inputted columns and rows to give it that game board feel, and then also put in my width and margin here. And then I'm going to move on to my JavaScript file. And this is kind of the functionality and meat and potatoes of it, so to speak. So I use some const functions up here just to get started. So then that way I can actually go through and use these throughout the rest of the code because they are always going to stay the same. And then I used another const of possible winning conditions here using an array function. And then as we scroll down, I have some additional functions as well, including defining, initializing the game itself. So getting the game started and using a function of initialize game. So every time that a game, or excuse me, a space is actually clicked on, it defines the different functionality here. I'm actually going to just briefly expand my VS Code so you can see this code a little bit more easily since it's somewhat longer here on the lines. And as we continue to scroll down here, we see a function of cell clicked. So it's getting the attribute of the different cells every time. And then also it's updating the information as we go throughout the game. And it's defining certain conditions here that need to be met in order for that to continue on. And also I have a function here for updating the cell, changing the player, checking to see if there's actually a winner based on true false Boolean operators. And then I also have a for loop here that I use to help define what winning conditions are and to iterate through every array so that it can actually determine what is happening based on these parameters that are defined. So this is the code that is written down here to help define the different parameters that need to be met if a player is going to actually win a game. Excuse me. And then we have the function down here at the bottom of to restart the game using the original array that we started with at the very top. So that is the code itself. I'm going to minimize my VS Code now so you can actually go to the browser here and see what the game looks like. So it's pretty basic, nothing too fancy, but it shows down here, it shows the title at the top here. You've got a 3x3 grid. It does show which player's turn it is after each click. So we start off with X, and then it goes into O's turn, X's turn again, O's turn again, X's turn again, O's turn again, and now O has won. And if you click reset board, it'll actually reset the board here. And again, you can keep going into a new round. X wins that time. So that's the functionality and code behind my tic-tac-toe game. Thank you.